Hi there, and welcome back to another edition of Scale Up Radio, podcast inspired by the entrepreneurial scale up system and designed to making the navigating our scale up journeys that little bit easier by learning from each other's experiences. I'm Granger Forson, and on this episode of the show, I'm joined by Ellie and Jacob Dailey of Redhawk. Together, we explore the essence of creating captivating online presences, the pivotal towards meaningful client relationships, and the value of honest feedback in crafting personalised, digitalised strategies. To ensure you don't miss any inspirational future episodes, do subscribe to Scale Up Radio wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, you can nominate a guest for Scale Up Radio if you know someone with an interesting scale-up journey. You can find out how in the show notes. So, let's go over and listen to the inspiring journey of crafting connections, mastering digital engagement, and thriving through partnership with Ellie and Jacob Dailey. So, hello, Jacob and Ellie. Welcome to Scale Up Radio. Please introduce yourselves to our audience.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I am a veteran of about 20 years in corporate recruitment, and I've started a number of different businesses over the years. Lived in 8 different cities, traveled to 56 different countries. The last 8 years or so we've spent in the Bay Area in San Francisco, where my husband Jacob is from and sounds a lot more American than I do, even though there's an odd twang in there. But I am from Gloucestershire originally and back home now for the last couple of years. So I'll pass over to Jacob.
My name is Jacob. I'm originally from San Francisco. I worked as a producer and a director in Singapore, or the Greater Asia, China, Japan, the Philippines, Indonesia, for about 10 years. Then we were running marketing business, social media, content creation for probably the last 5 to 6 years in the US, and then now we've moved over to beautiful Midlands in the Cotswolds. It's gorgeous, and yes, we're taking it from here. It's lovely.
Brilliant. Well, welcome back over this side of the pond, as we say. So brilliant. Let's understand then the business. Marketing, other details you've said. So, tell us, who are you? How big are you? How do you delight your clients?
Well, we're not very big. We are the two of us, and our focus is content creation primarily. So I do the stills. I'm a photographer, and Jacob does the videos and the videography. Between us, we create posts for social media, stills and videos, mainly Instagram, Facebook. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn as well. So we can cover those 3 bases, staying away from Twitter/X where possible. But basically our main goal and the value add that we bring to our clients is helping them build their online presence from a visual perspective. So setting up their social media profiles and creating their colors and their logos, from if they're that far in right at the beginning, all the way through building on existing brands with thousands of followers already and just maintaining a solid and consistent delivery of posts online, tracking and monitoring the analytics, and looking at how we can engage with their audience, build credibility, and make them more attractive online. So that includes building their websites and any other kind of digital collateral that they might need online.
Interesting phrase, attractive online. So you talked about visual side of that, but I'm sure there's an awful lot of other elements involved in that. So you were doing that in the US, and you've come over here now for the last forget about 5 years. Is that correct?
A couple of years back in the UK, I was again doing some corporate work. So we've just really launched again to do this. But we've got 4 or 5 clients that we partner with that are, as I say, in various stages of their renaissance online. But yes, the visual side is really where we are strongest. I think that there's a lot of confusion around the expectation in digital marketing and social media marketing in that often people come to us with expectations of increased sales a lot of the time. And I always make it very clear that, you know, engagement and ad spend leads to sales, but you do need to have what we provide, which is that groundwork of content and content marketing online, to build the SEO, to build the credibility, to build the audience, to tell them interesting things, to tell your story, to engage with your customers, to put yourself out there. And this works specifically well for geographical locations. So if you have a shop in a town, to build the social media presence around that location is really powerful. What we can't do is sort of magically turn you into an influencer overnight, which I think people sometimes expect.
Instantly.
Yeah, well, you know, we are an instant culture, and expecting
Yeah.
instantly, we forget that it takes a long time. Yes. So you tell me about some of, you know, your current customers. Then, you know, what are the types of things you're striving to help them then be in this, you know, attractiveness online then?
So we have one client, E100, that is an education e-learning online platform, teaching entrepreneurs how to set their business up. So everything from e-commerce, how to become an Amazon FBA specialist, to learning how to print on demand, to B2B and sales, to everything that is necessary with social media and the rest of it. So we help them build the website, we help them set up the community, we built the brand and all the visual pieces that are on the website, including the email marketing campaigns. We have delivered you know, consistent posts over the last few months, and we've built their Instagram from 0 to, I think it's nearly 700 now, just in a couple of months. So that's exciting, and it's a brand new project that will hopefully impact specifically low income communities that don't have access to business schools. And
it's
that's
quite robust.
Try and help as people who don't have access to the snazzy tools and or the, you know, the business schools, the education that would help them. I think so many people are very good at what they do. For example, a hairdresser, a yoga instructor, a dentist, right? These guys are brilliant at what they do, but they weren't necessarily taught how to set up their own dental practice or yoga studio or hairdressing salon. So we kind of try and fill in the gaps without overwhelming with too much academic education. It's more about practical. This is how to do this. This is what you need to do to build a website. This is what you need to do this, and sort of put it all together online. So we've been really enjoying working with E100 and partnering with them because it does match what we try and do with our clients as well, which is empower them to learn these skills so that, you know, we teach them how to fly and teach them how to not need us anymore, which is ultimately the aim of the game.
Mm. So, you know, I'm a business. I'm looking to increase my sales, because that's ultimately what we're all trying to do. They're coming, knocking on your door. You know, how do you start that engagement with them and understanding how your services will help them to take them forwards?
Listen. Everybody has a different story. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has a different way they like to work as well. And the sales piece is really important because I've made a lot of mistakes on this front when I've been setting up various businesses, in that, you know, aiming too wide and too broad and not focusing on the initial early adopters or early customers, the first people who walk through the door. Those are your absolute gems. Those are the ones you stick with forever. And I think that sales should be around real cultivation of the first few users, and then building from there rather than
trying to get everybody through the door. Yeah.
Exactly. So much like how Airbnb set up, they would go around initially and tidy up the houses, take the pictures, invite people in and welcome them in and be there with cookies for the beginning. It's really hard work. And I think that, again, people do assume and expect easy rides, and that this is just going to magically happen if they throw a bit of money at Facebook or create a few pretty pictures. And it's not. It's very much about networking, getting yourself out there and being an expert at what you do, and then telling that story to the correct audience.
I love the way you've used the analogy of the early adopters, which is, the growth curve of any new technology type idea. You've used that for the idea behind your client growth, and focusing on those first early gems. So actually, you're not even doing much social media type activity at that time, really, are you? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's all about getting to know who your customer is and what they want, and then, learning from that. And that's on a personal level too. I remember when we first had our first couple of clients, and I would take their feedback quite personally if they didn't like my pictures or if they didn't, like what we had done. Whereas now I give them so many different options, and I really dig around, like, what don't you like? What don't you want? So that right at the beginning, we can be really clear about how clear is your vision for your business. Do you want us to come in and sort of create loads of stuff, and you just carry on doing what you're good at and leave the rest to us? Or actually, have you got a very clear idea of how you want to sound online, how you want to look, what you want the pictures to be like, what you want the voice and the vibe to sound like? And then we, really listen to what they have to say. I like this, I don't like this. And I love doing that collaboratively, ideally in a room with, a whiteboard. But online, when we're going through the pictures and like, tell me what you like, tell me what you hate, and we can kind of work it out, because everyone is so different. And I think it's just important to be very unprecious about your work and be more connected to what the customer really wants. And that, again, as you say, the difference between building a product and then launching a product and making everybody like the product is a different strategy completely to what we're doing now, which is much more of a service-based, customer-focused partnership consulting, which, again, each one is such a different experience. It's quite hard to generalize about, what you provide as a service. But listening and just, what are the goals? You're going to ask us where we see ourselves in 5 years. What do they want to do with the business? Where do they want to go? And then we help them create that roadmap, which then, it's very similar to what you do, I suppose.
So yes, let's just think about then. What you've given us a good flavor of all the different things. What do you strive to be, the best at? You've been, your business running in the US, you've been successful, you're coming over here. Why would somebody work with you? What's the sort of, passion, the difference that you would bring?
We're quite fun.
Yeah, of course, we're definitely fun people for sure. I think we look at we're not their clients, like partners, like it's a partnership. So we succeed when they succeed. So I think it's just the kind of mentality of looking at it is not like, oh, we have to do this work for people. And every partner is different. They're in a different level of business, the beginning or the middle or further, and they require different levels of service. Some need really heavy social media, some need very little social media, but they do need help in other areas to help their marketing needs. So it's just kind of we just have to step back and look at who they are, what they need, and then just fill those gaps, not just really a cookie cutter for that matter, just really focus in as a partner would do and say, hey, we can help you. Let's succeed together and then move forward.
And we're also very transparent about what we can and we can't do. And Jake and I have very different skill sets too, which is great. So he's really good at things that I'm not so good at. And we can be quite honest with each other about what we think of each other's work as well. And so I think, again, it takes away that sort of preciousness of this is our shiny product, and more like, okay, what needs to be done? And we do what we say we're going to do. I think a lot of people, again, make these massive promises of we can turn your business around, and it's like, well, this is what we need to do. How much of this are you willing to do, Mr. Client? You know, like Mrs. Client. How much actual dirty elbows, whatever the expression is, are they willing to get involved with?
Yeah.
Or, you know, is it the quickest, cheapest options available?
So what you know, you're helping building the social media, their voice in the wind. You're helping them build their visibility online, their attractiveness was the word you used. What's the marketplace like? You know, is it a difficult marketplace for you guys in the UK to do that? Is you know, is it very competitive? You know, what are the sort of trends that are going on that you're seeing?
I think just in the beginning bit, I'll also finish the rest of this. So in America, it's very competitive. Just in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. Like,
Yeah.
yes, everyone had a lot more. I don't know. I think they just had a lot more visibility to social media. They knew about it. They knew what they had to do, either whether they did it or not. But they knew. So it was like when you speak with someone, they would very rarely they were just at the bottom at the beginning with not very much exposure to social media. They were quite either higher or either throwing money at it or just angry because it's not going in their direction. That was in the US. Here, it's a little bit different because you have people that are like, I don't want to touch it, I don't want to deal with it. And some people who do lean in and are doing very well, but it's just a little bit of a different curve, I think, in the UK than it is the US, because they want instant gratification in the US. They're not even handling like 3-4 days without instant ROI.
Yeah.
So
and they're much
it's a
better
little
at
bit different. You could
themselves.
look back and say, okay, well, we're building something. It takes a little bit longer, and then have some patience.
We're a lot less comfortable blowing our own trumpets in the UK, I think. And so much of social media is about that. And I think the slightly more thoughtful approach to it, again, is around the content and teaching people things, showing people things. It's not just like, look at us, we're shiny and great, buy our product. It's more, you know, this is what we've learned, this is how we help, this is who we help, this is stories of people we have helped. And, you know, it's a lot more about that. But yes, I think people in the UK have been so used to just getting on with it, and they're sort of, oh, we've got to do this damn Facebook stuff too, you know. Whereas, yeah, you're right, in California anyway, they're very happy to be on video talking about themselves.
Yeah, I mean, for example, but not just that, like the website and that the whole environment around that is like payment systems and CRMs, etc. Understanding how that can benefit them, even though it sounds so foreign. There's a meat truck. It's our local farmers market, and he does not take cash, and he has a ton of customers, and people do walk away. And I'm like, I want you to take a card. It'll hook to your website. Oh, I don't have a website. Well, can we be better? Like, we can do better. It's not difficult for you. You have the money. It's like cash is an option, but so is card. Like, you're just losing money with customers who walk away, or people who want to buy your services online, or what if, I mean, it just opens up more opportunity if you're interested, and they're not
And that
interested.
ties in actually with how we got into this whole thing, which was
which is going to be my next question, actually. So
yeah.
Take us back to the start then, and where this came from.
Well, it was exactly that frustration with when COVID hit, and we were in a little town just north of San Francisco, and so many of our, you know, friends had, like, my hairdresser, my yoga instructor, and those were my first clients who everything, they couldn't get online, and they were allergic to all technology. And one one person just dropped their computer outside my front door, and I just set them all up on all the Google stuff. And it was, again, they had to get online. It was a,
Our high street shut.
otherwise
So
they had to go out of business. It was not a life or death situation, but it was pretty urgent that they managed to get their business online in some way, shape, or form. And because I'd set up so many different businesses and learned how many hats you have to wear and become head of HR and IT and sales and marketing and all the things, I'd learned along the way all these little tools and tricks. And actually, you can set up your own business online for very cheap, like probably around £100, and you've got yourself a website and all the things you need. So, helping people do that, because they can get intimidated by it. They might think this is out of their reach or going to cost them £5,000 to get a website. And the reality is it's not. It's actually incredibly straightforward nowadays to do all of it. And so that's how we started, was just sort of helping people get over their fear of the digital world and bringing them online.
and that's an amazing that it wasn't even that long ago, and it wasn't so, I mean, it was intuitive, but not even close to as intuitive it is now. Like you can get on multiple providers like Squarespace and Wix and whatnot. Before it was like you really had to be code knowledgeable, and now it's like drag and drop and be friendly, and you're like, oh, okay. So these are the things that when you're talking to someone who's probably in their late 60s with their own business, and they're like, I don't want to deal with that. And you show them, hey, look at this, look how this works. Oh, just repeat it a few times, and they're like, and they'll do the actions, and they'll say, oh, I get it. I see where that's working. I see where my inventory is. I can see that I can ship these things there. You get more comfortable with the interface, and then you're like, all right, it's all you. And they're just more than delighted to just move on. Okay, now I can run my business just from the back end of our website. If I said that a month ago, it would have passed out. Like now they're like, okay, I got it.
See,
which is great. It's wonderful.
And it's not expensive, and it is easy to use. And my mom loves Squarespace. She's, having been terrified, you kind of think, oh, actually, this is fun, and it's creative, and it's exciting what you can do, and you can do it all yourself. So it's really empowering to people, which is such fun.
So you started, helping business owners, and saw this as an opportunity to grow something, I guess. So, what was the sort of, right, let's be serious about this, let's build a business and make that happen? And you've talked about, you've built multiple businesses over time, so you must get to that point where you go, right, time for our name, time for our structure. Well, how does that go about? What did you do then?
Well, I mean, they say the entrepreneur's journey is not straight. It's a wiggly line of chaos. And I think we're both of an age now where a full-time job, I had a full-time job for the last couple of years. And, I think personality-wise, I suit running my own business a lot better than working in a large corporation. I love the freedom of running our own business. Jake, just moved over from the States. It took a long time for him to get his visa. So for us, it's just a real joy to be able to work together to set this up and do this for ourselves. As you say, it's doing it for us. It's our future and our little girl, and we just have a lot of fun working together. So the idea of going back to an office does not appeal, to be honest.
Couldn't imagine.
Yeah, so you realize when you run your own business that there comes a moment actually when you are no longer employable, really.
Yes.
Well, that was kind of, I mean, for me, that's, you're like at some point, I have to hire yourself. Like you can't, like after
it's really
40,
difficult, and especially at the moment. The market is really, really tough out there, especially in my industry and recruitment, and it's just really tough. And I speak to, and I think the more senior you are in it, the harder it is again. So setting up your own business is a brilliant way of utilizing all your experience, being your own boss, having that freedom, being, you know, able to realize all the hats that you have that you've never worn, that you can wear, and empower yourself to be your own boss. It is risky and it's tough, but yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world, really.
And yourself, Jacob?
Well, I just from a production and standpoint, I just interviewing and talking with people. If you don't, I mean, they look at my website and LinkedIn and whatnot, but they see like projects that I've shot and stuff in the early noughts, and that basically scares them off. They're like, "No way, this guy's too old. He wouldn't do anything for us." But I mean, again, production is not again what it used to be. You can really do a lot remotely, and some of it has to be in person, but some of it does not. It's not like how it used to be. But anyways, I digress. That after a certain while, I don't really want to travel, to another country for 6 months to shoot something and then come back. I miss my family, my wife, of course. And then, so at a certain point, you're like, well, I can take these skills that I've learned. And during my years of producing, writing, and directing, I must have done 1,000 corporate videos, at least, for various like multinational corporations. If they want a sales video, they want a conference video or something, they launch a product or etc. Tons of experience with a variety of different vendors: Coca-Cola, Singtel, Ericsson, well, Sony's,
Sennheiser did the
Sennheiser, yeah, whatever, anything. So at some point, you're like, well, all right, well, at this juncture in time, things are getting smaller. So it all wants to be on your thread is more valuable than paying $7 or $8 million for a television commercial that's going to be on television once, maybe to a handful of eyes now. Everyone's on their device. So it's like, well, I could still make all that content just on a smaller platform for a larger audience, which is great. Like and then even now, systems and AI support, it makes creating content so much easier. You just have to really stay focused and on new technology and being innovative. And it doesn't take a team anymore to make just about anything. You could do it by yourself, which is scary, but also very beneficial. When you're just by yourself, you can still do it.
Yeah, I think that's probably you've picked up on as technology changes and it's becoming easier and easier to actually do it on your own. You don't need the army of people behind you and specialists, as you say. There's a lot of drag and drop capabilities to link things together, and even systems coming out that actually, before you use 2 or 3 different systems, now they're all starting to be one system. You can do lots of things before the lots of different ones do as they grow and develop themselves. You don't need that multiple systems integrations that you used to have.
Yeah, it's one of my friends reached out to me and she's like, I want to make a podcast. Can you do it for me? Can you cut it for me? I thought, no way. Like 2 hours of research online. Yeah, no problem. She sends over the files. She's in America. I cut them, send them back, and she puts them. I mean, I honestly, I thought never. A sound engineer would have to do this for sure. Oh no.
Yeah.
The software arranges it and makes it quite viable, quite easy, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, building a business, there are highs and lows. We've talked about all the positive stuff. What are the sort of things that have gone wrong and you've gone, oh, okay, I wish I hadn't done that again, or I'd do that differently next time?
Where do we begin? My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the lessons.
Ellie is a serial entrepreneur. So
I've been banned from starting any more businesses.
That's it. No more businesses for some time.
But hey, multiple income streams. That's a really good piece of advice. I wish I had started that earlier. I think there's a very difficult balance to maintain around focus and diversification. I think, and again, this comes back to the product versus the service. And I think, you know, in the past where I made a mistake with Intro 30, which was a 30-second video resume platform that I built. And again, aiming too high and trying to invite the world, as opposed to starting small, starting local, and working with local schools and local, well, actually the most fun I had was with a local business, a building society, a business kind of network of construction and construction businesses. And I helped about 12 school leavers who were looking for apprenticeships and internships within these construction companies. They didn't have a CV, they didn't have anything, and their video resumes were the best way to do it. And that was so meaningful and impactful, because they all got jobs as a result of that session and that technology and that idea, that concept of a 30-second introduction, a video introduction. And if I had just sort of started like that and podded it slowly around getting that feedback, getting those success stories, getting that, you know, the first initial adopters, early adopters, done the lean startup, as I see behind you there, you know, the Toyota method and all that, you know, doing it like that, that was a big mistake I made. And I think instead it was like, let's rely on the internet, let's go big, let's go to these big universities. And, you know, it's very easy to be, you know, led astray by the glittery lights. And I think going back to what your roots are, what the point of it is really important. And that's focus, but also being the diversification pieces, being able to pivot, to being able to sort of see opportunity and not be distracted from the main roadmap, but go off and explore other diversification opportunities without losing track of where you're supposed to be, and come back to the main road as often as you can. Yeah. So that was a mistake that I made, very much so. And now I think what we're trying to do is have a very small pool of clients that we very much enjoy working with, that we very much partner with, and there's a, you know, real trust there. So that's great.
And as you know, as things go wrong, yeah, as the money's struggling, as you know, we get frustrated with technologies, you know, we can suffer from overwhelm and getting lost in our own head, etc. So, you know, how do you guys manage those situations? You know, what are your hints and tips?
Mainly Italian wine, I think, is my as opposed to anything else. No, I think it's, again, practice. I mean, again, going back to that first sort of feedback session where I felt physically sick because this person didn't like what I did, and I was, oh my goodness. And, you know, after 20 odd years of work, you know, you're used to rejection, you're used to pushback and dealing with people who disagree with you. And, you know, it's an interesting thing. But when you're being a creative, as this was a sort of shift, and this is our creativity that was being questioned. I mean, Jake's been used to this for years in his creating videos where people that, I don't like this and I don't like that. And I remember him coming back from client meetings, you know, properly tense and angry. And it's tough because it's like your baby, you know, if someone writes a book and puts the book out there and everybody hates the book, you know, it's devastating. So what I've really studied that. I was like, how, you know, and again, I see Brene behind you as well, and that sort of, you have to interrogate why you are precious about negative feedback. Why was I so upset by this? And I was so shaken because I was so upset. I was like, okay, this can't happen again. How can I improve my ability to withstand negative feedback or criticism? And so now whenever I get feedback, I just say to the client, you can give me your feedback as long as it's 100% glowing and wonderful. I won't take any negative feedback. And that works too. I'm kidding. That is not what I do. But I think you do need to learn how to manage yourself and manage your emotional reaction to precarious situations. And if it's financial, have a freak out and then get over it and go and find some more business. Go and do some more business development, do your sales, do whatever you need to do, bite that frog's head off, read all the books, do all the exercises and the meditations and all the things are good for you, that you'll come out the other side feeling better, even if you don't want to.
But be flexible, though. I think you have to just really be flexible about what you're doing, and if things aren't working, or obviously clients are going to be happy and or angry at some things you do, but if things really aren't working, just to go back and look at what is working and try to see how you can incorporate that either more in your process, or work around or fix the things that aren't working to the working pile of your day to day. It's just
and sometimes they don't work. Like sometimes they won't work.
they don't, but that's it. Just be ready to pivot. You just have to be flexible in what you're doing and say, hey, it's okay. We're like this. An entrepreneurship is fluid, like it's ever changing. So you can't say, oh, it has to be this way. Nothing has to be anyway. You just have to do what's working. What works for you, what works for your customers and clients and partners. That's what you need to do. So it's it's freeing though, because you don't have someone over your shoulder saying, nope, this is the way we've always done it. Like, that is not going to work here. I'm going to do it this way because this is what's working.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And again, that conversation you have right at the beginning is so key, because if the goalposts change with the client, if they chop and change initially in the first few weeks of working together, if you spot a lot of red flags, it's really important to talk about it at the start. And if it's necessary to separate or end the agreement, or that's that break up, it's a relationship, and if it's not working, it's not working, and no amount of data analytics is going to change that.
Yes, very true. And I often say to my clients that the most powerful word in the world is experiment.
Yes.
Rather than a plan, because if you plan something and it fails, you think maybe the plan was wrong. But actually, if you use it as an experiment, then actually, oh, did we learn? What did we learn? Maybe we learned not to go that way. We'll go another way. We'll try something different. And it's that constant experimentation that you have to do to find those things that work. And when you find those things that work, you then scale them up and make them more successful. And then you experiment somewhere else. And that's the real power of that entrepreneurial spirit that we have to drive forwards. So one sort of a couple more questions then before we get to the final bits and pieces. I'll give you a magic wand, okay, and you can cast your spell over your industry. What one thing would you change that would that drives you crazy about the industry? What would you change with that magic wand?
I wish that Facebook would have real human beings that you can talk to. That's why I often go with smaller software that's brand new, because, for example, I have my photography website CRM system. Everything is through Sprout, which is a small Canadian business. And I talk to them all the time. They follow up. It's very easy to get hold of somebody. You can just set a little Calendly up and you can chat to someone if you've got a question. They get back to me straight away. There's a human being there. Same with Circle, which is what we run Job Prep Global and E100 off. Again, it's Canadian. It's an amazing platform, and they are so quick at responding to my questions, of which there are many questions, and I always have questions, and I go straight to the product to answer the questions. Squarespace is great like that. Wix is improving, actually. If you persevere and you don't take the stock answers, you can speak to a real human being there too. Yeah. But with this Facebook, Instagram, you can never get hold of anyone. LinkedIn is the same. It's so frustrating. I got hacked and just deleted from both Facebook and Instagram after sort of 17 years, like 600 people on one. And it was just so sad, because there's loads of people that I can't get back on there. I'm never going to see these people probably ever again. It's just so frustrating, and I feel like that is a real shame. And then they go and fire 50,000 people, and you think, well, if you had kept those people, it would have a lot of happy users rather than, again, break things and make it as big as possible rather than as quality as possible. But that's my little rant, and I wish that was different.
And Jacob, what would your magic wand?
I think mine is that not tech companies will in general, but obviously Facebook, Google, I think does it, LinkedIn probably does as well. It's have to be more forthcoming when they essentially change the algorithm on how posts are shared or paid ads work or how you can work organically to share various things. They don't really say when they change that algorithm, but it changes all the time. So like things really work for a while and like, oh, right, look at things are spreading. This story is working. Oh, that's really works. Then not zero. Like, oh, they changed what works and what doesn't because they're always pushing for obviously paid ads. They want you to pay for more posts. So this is kind of in a rotation, but they never tell you when it happens. It just kind of stops working or stops being advantageous for people who are trying to grow organically. And it's frustrating. It's like, well, that was kind of the point of your entire social media existence was that people can stay in touch and spread the word and grow their business and do things. And they're like, oh no, not anymore. Now you must pay. And even if you are paying, we're going to change the parameters of of how you grow. And so you have to repay and make it's frustrating. I wish they would have to be more upfront and more transparent about, hey, everyone, we're changing our algorithms. So now you can't do X, Y, and Z, or it won't result in X, Y, and Z. We're moving forward. But they don't say anything.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I mean, so let's meet up in 5 years' time. Have a cup of coffee, or some Italian wine, whatever we need. And we're going to sit back and reflect on the 5 years that's just passed. What's happened for both of you, personally and professionally, for the 5 years to be successful.
I've never seen past my nose, so I'll let Jake do that. I'm not a planner.
She's not a planner. I am though. So I do. It's okay. I really feel as an entrepreneur, obviously, you have to love what you do. So I don't necessarily would say, oh, I'm hiring. It'll be done. Like, no, I enjoy what I do. I'm more than happy to keep working until I keel over. That's fine. But I wouldn't mind like in 5 years to exit for like maybe 15 or $20 million, and then we'll start anew again. I don't mind doing that. That is definitely a possibility. So that option would also be on the table for 5 years.
You're going to build a business to exit at that amount of money. So
yes, it'll be quite. I'm being quite excessive.
You'll be using Ellie for the recruitment.
Yeah, we'll have to larger staff at that point.
Yeah. That'll be a very nice growth curve as well for doing that. So, well, Ellie Jacob, thank you for the amazing conversation today. We've really sort of drilled down into this essence of making attractive online, and that's what you guys do through Redhawk. You're making us stand out. Thinking about how we should actually have a presence online, and actually, it's not difficult. There's lots of things we have to do, but there's so much technology that can help us do that, and you've talked about that and how you can help your clients understand the technology that they can use, how you use that technology to be successful, to help your clients stand out, to be able to do that. And I love the description that you talked about is your clients are your partners. Yeah, you're building that relationship with them. You're helping them achieve their goals, not necessarily the goal of sales, because that comes from paid ads and the structures that you put in place, but getting that visibility, getting people seen, getting people understood that we're here, this is what we're doing, and helping your clients understand that through a partnership. And that two-way partnership becomes of both negative and positive feedback, and being able to work with that and make that happen. And that idea that actually there's a curve as of growth, which we know, but treasuring those first early adopters, having that local communication. And Ellie, you talked about your business that you wish you did some real success, which is some local students, and that taught you so much. And actually, I never thought about the level of that first early clients are your real testing ground. So treasure that and really use that to help pivot and I think about your technology and your systems you're going to do. And yes, we'd love a lot more humans interaction, and I think that's maybe what your early adopters are. They are those human interactions that you have in a business. As a business grows and scales, and Facebook then builds automations to shut people away from other people, maybe we lose that interaction. And that's the real power of what actually you're talking about, which is helping your clients become visible, become human on the stage, which is the marketing world that we need to get. And that's all wrapped up in that final thing, which comes across beautifully, which is the joy and the fun that you have in your business, in creating a business, but also helping your clients online. So thank you. It's been a fantastic conversation. We always finish with a quick fire round, if I may. So we'll go to each one of you one after the other. Okay, so off we go. If you go back to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
Trust the universe.
Study harder.
Trust the universe. Do more meditation, do more exercise, and save some money. No
Yeah, I probably invest in Amazon. I right about the bat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Any books you recommend?
I'm the reader, I'm the nerd. I love all the ones you have behind you. Big fan of those. And also going back to the basics of I remember laughing at my dad reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because he met Stephen and he had written in his book, Carpe Diem, John. And as a sort of stroppy teenager, I thought that was hilarious. And then I read it and I was like, good God, this is brilliant. This is really clever stuff. And it really has affected my life. And big fan of that. And with that, with the Platinum Rule is a very interesting book, recommended through Sarah Blakely's masterclass, talking about how you can, the golden rule is do as you would be done by. The platinum rule is to do as they would be done by. And so looking at when you speak to clients about what kind of interactions they enjoy and don't enjoy and how to sort of behave accordingly. And yes, I think, I once read a brilliant actual book that is called The 100 Best Business Books. And it's genius because it has all the 100 best business books, but just a couple of pages each. So you can get a good snapshot without having to read a billion books. So there's a cheat for you there. If you don't want to read all the books, get that one.
And
Jacob, yourself?
I obviously have to read the books that are left over that she doesn't read. So that's totally what I got left.
I just use them to hit him on the head with them,
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Podcast. Do you guys listen to any podcasts? Any that you'd recommend?
Again, love. We Can Do Hard Things for the women out there.
I like Smartless. Smartless is good. I like that. And then The Rest is History is great. I love that. Rest is History is good.
And I Made This is quite good for entrepreneurs. And I think, again, if you just, like, I was looking for how to start up my photography business. So I just Googled, podcasts on photography. And I actually was driving along and I asked Siri while I was driving, can you put on a podcast about setting up a photography business? And then up it came. But obviously this podcast too is now at the top of our list.
Definitely.
We very much enjoyed
thank you very much.
You, and thank you for that wonderful précis at the end there. It's very well articulated. So thank you.
So onto your mobile phones, any apps that make a real difference for you?
Oh, Jake's the app guy.
Well, I'm a unit converter that I use every single day, obviously, because I cook as well. So a lot of unit conversions. Other apps that make my life super easy. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a time one for multiple cities around the world. Like you can find out what time it is. That's also super helpful. Trainline, super easy. I'm like so basic. Other than that, the maps, because the roads here are, I don't want to get me started, but it's easier. Obviously, I use the maps a lot. That's it.
Compared to the 101. Yeah.
Brilliant. No, now my favorite question of all. So, who's had the most influence on you as a business leader?
I had a boss at one of my businesses, Firefly, who he set up the business and he ran it, and it was a big global business. And yet he would always stop whatever he was doing and have like a real conversation with you about camping or your children or whatever it is that, you know, you want to talk about, and everything else kind of stopped. And I remember thinking that is just such a brilliant way to manage people, because yes, of course, that, you know, the proverbial is hitting the fan, but that never means you should ignore people or not talk about things that matter to them, and everything else can wait, but give time to your team. And I really appreciated that.
I mean, maybe
Jacob?
Richard Branson. I just like his overall, like, you have to be insane to go into the airline industry, but he's very calm all the time, because I think he knows that things can be solved. Everything can be solved. You can talk everything out and work things out, come together with people. There's a million ways to skin a cat, and you can, when you have smart people entering a room, there's no way you can leave without solving your problems. You just have to give a little bit of whatever, but I think it's probably going to be Richard Branson.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Your most successful lead generation tactic to date for your own business?
Referral is very helpful. Like, we essentially, you know, just leaning on our clients and partners again to say, hey, anyone you know to help us out, and then we work with them. Once someone compliments their work, which we've done, we can move forward with maybe introductions with other people. Yeah. So.
And local chambers of
Yeah, Chamber of Commerce
local
is good.
networking events.
There,
You know, they're great fun, and being new to the area, it's a great way to
there's
meet
some
people
local
too.
networking events that I go to, which are really good. Which is the United Networking Club, which is this gentleman has arranged that these business networking meetings all happen in football clubs around the area, because they don't have any other income, like just small clubs. So you meet there, you pay, I think it's like £15 for lunch, and there's usually about, 30 people there, local business owners, and everyone chats and they meet each other. You have lunch right next to this football pitch in the clubhouse or whatever. It's really lovely. I think it's a great idea. So he goes to various towns around the area, mainly the Midlands, and it's great to see all the football pitches. That's cool. I think it's a great idea.
Brilliant. And finally, guys, how can people get hold of you?
www.redhawk.uk, not .com.
Yeah.
Ellie at redhawk.uk and Jacob at redhawk.uk.
Yeah.
But we've got lots of ways to contact us on the website. So
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, guys, thank you so much for this conversation today. It's been awesome. I love the energy and the fun that you guys have brought to this session today, and some really great takeaways. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
I hope you enjoyed that discussion, and if you're building and scaling your own business, you might well be interested in our book, The Entrepreneurial Scale-Up System. And it's exactly what it says on the tin. It's a practical handbook around scaling a business in a structured way. And you can order a copy on all your favorite online retailers, including an audio version, or you can find it and other supporting resources on our website, www.esusgroup.co.uk. That's esusgroup.co.uk, which is esusgroup.co.uk.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.